All right. I'd like to call to order the Historic Preservation Commission meeting for January 11th, 2024 at 7:16 p.m. I'd like someone to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Erickson, would you mind doing that for us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. I believe it's time for a roll call.
Okay, roll call for tonight's meeting. Mashlin?
Here.
Ward is excused. Benoit?
Here.
Lemaster?
Here.
Erickson?
Here.
Walker?
Here.
And Chair LeBrecq?
Here.
Okay, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. I also would like to acknowledge that we have our Deputy City Clerk, Ms. Jody Kurtz, here for this particular first meeting that we worked together. Thank you very much. And also very pleased to be working with our museum curator, Allison Stacy. Allie, who has been very key in putting our information together for tonight, and it's been a pleasure to work with so far. So I'd like to recognize both of you and also welcome everybody and thank you all for being here, and City Manager Kat Sorensen as well. Thank you very much for reminding me. Thank you for being here and for supporting us. All right, are there any citizen comments on any subject that have been submitted?
You never know. There are none. No one signed in anyway.
Wow, I was excited for a minute there. Okay, all right. Approval of the agenda and consent agenda.
Any discussion on that, or are you ready to vote?
Discussion?
Call the question.
Okay. Voting on the approval of tonight's agenda and consent agenda. Benoit?
Aye. Yes.
Walker?
Yes.
Lemaster?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Mashlin?
Yes.
And Chair LeBrecq?
Yes.
Okay, your agenda and consent agenda have been approved, and there are no items on the consent agenda.
All right. Thank you very much. Moving to special orders, presentations, and reports. We don't have any proclamations or awards at this time. We have a city administration report.
No, there is no report at this time.
All right. As from a chair report, I just would again like to welcome all of you, and I'd like to say that we've been having very productive work session earlier, which we'll get a chance to vote on a few things as the fruit of that labor, and pleased to have a full commission. Sorry that my vice chair is not feeling well tonight, but she's certainly excused and missed as well too. I don't have anything significant since our last meeting, but again, we'll get a chance to talk about what we did during our work session, so nothing other significant to report. How about a report on our Historic Preservation Facebook page?
Sure. Let's see, so our last meeting was canceled, and so when I looked at the statistics for Facebook, I kind of looked at that period. I had the data already for the period up to that meeting, and then also I got the data for the period from then up to this one meeting, so I'm going to just report on two separate things. And so basically, the first period was August through October, and during that time, we put out 12 posts. There's basically one a week, and we're basically all talking about the historic walking tour sites and benefits of historic preservation, plus any events that we might have, things like that. And our reach was up like 900%, which seems amazing, over the previous period. And so we reached 1,134 people, which is good. We have 707 followers, which is 7 more than before, so we're, adding people on. Our audience is pretty consistent. It's primarily women in Seward, but we do have men, and we do have people from other communities. And yeah, so that's all good. And we have people in all different age groups. And so for the next period, was it kind of a different story. For November and December, our reach was way down, and visits to the page were down, everything was down, and the reason was because we didn't put out very many posts, and that's because the person who normally does it was off on leave, and so it kind of fell through the cracks. So we didn't have much out there on the Facebook page, but it just goes to show how important consistency is. If you're putting out information and you want to educate the public on what's happening, you have to consistently do it. Because just stopping doing it, our reach was down almost 70%. So it's all important. But in any case, Allie came to the rescue, and she has taken some of those posts that were supposed to go out before and started putting them out. So we're trying to get caught up, and that should all be happening pretty soon. And so what I have done was I created new posts that will take us all the way through probably the middle of November. And that is what is here in this report. It shows you the posts that should have gone out and are going out now, plus all the new ones. And by the time we finish that, we will have gone through putting out every walking tour sign that we have. And so, then we can start sharing that again. But it's basically, these are all about the walking tour and about the benefits of historic preservation, plus some events that we know that will be coming up and awards and things like that. So the question is, if anyone has anything additional, there will be things that come up, like, and as we get more information, like what are we going to do for Founders Day, different things like that, and telling people about who won the Historic Preservation Award. There'll be other stuff that'll get inserted, but these kind of take us through what's per week through mid-November. And Art did tell me about one picture he thought needed to be updated, which is a picture I thought was of the Ray Building, but it's actually not. So I'll work on that. So that's all I have.
Thank you for that. Takes some creativity to put all those posts together, so thank you for that.
You're welcome.
All right. We have presentations, next agenda. No unfinished business. Under new business, no resolutions. Moving on to approval of minutes, starting with August 24th minutes, which is on page 33. Once read or reviewed, or if you've already reviewed, we need a motion to accept those minutes.
I make a motion to accept the minutes from August.
I'll second that.
All right. Any discussion? Good. We need to vote.
Okay, voting on the approval of the August 24th, 2023 regular meeting minutes. Walker,
Yes.
Mashlin,
Yes.
Lemaster,
Yes.
Benoit,
Yes.
Erickson,
Yes.
and Chair LeBrecq.
Yes.
Okay, those minutes have been approved.
All right, thank you. And then approval of the October 19th, 2023 minutes as well.
I'll make another motion to accept the October minutes.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Shall we vote?
Voting on the approval of the October 19th, 2023 special meeting minutes. Mashlin,
Yes.
Benoit,
Yes.
Erickson,
Yes.
Lemaster,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
and Chair LeBrecq.
Yes.
Okay, those meeting minutes have been approved.
All right. The 2024 meeting schedule and priorities, which is on page 39. If you look at your packet, we went through during our work session and essentially approved those with a couple of minor things that we took out. Notably, developing a plan to update the 2017 HPC plan, which we felt was still good. And that came up in a couple of different places. And then also there was a mention of a grant library, which we talked about doing different as well too. So other than that, as presented in the packet, we all agreed that it worked. We also looked at all the dates to see that they worked for everyone's schedule, and those seemed like that would work fine. So I think that unless there's further discussion of it, we'd be ready to vote on those dates and those priorities.
Could I get a motion and a second?
Motion?
And what is your motion? To approve the 2024 meeting?
24 meeting schedule and priorities. Yeah.
I'll second it.
All right. Any further discussion? Think we're ready for a vote?
Okay, voting on the approval of the 2024 meeting schedule and priorities. Mashlin?
Yes.
Walker?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Lemaster?
Yes.
Benoit?
Yes.
And Chair LeBranch.
Yes.
Okay, that motion has been approved.
All right, very much. Our next item was to approve scored local Seward Historic Register applications. I'd like to talk for just a moment about what the City of Seward Historic Local Register is. It was from our 2017 approved HP plan, as well as if you were to look on the City of Seward's Historic Preservation webpage. The Seward Register of Historic Places was established by City Council Ordinance number 9510 in order to provide for public recognition of local cultural resources worthy of preservation. Not to be confused with the walking tour, but rather places that are on the Seward Historic Local Register. The hope is by identifying and recognizing properties that are important to Seward's history, this would help change the way the community perceives its historic resources and encourage private citizens and public officials to preserve these resources. In addition, the research and documentation that result from completing local register applications provide a valuable historic resource. There's nothing regulatory about being listed on the Seward Register of Historic Places. Placement on a local register does not place any restrictions or limitations on a property. The purpose of the guide, which can be found online on the webpage, is to assist individuals in completing the Seward Register of Historic Places. You'll note also in the Facebook postings we had earlier, there's a notification there where we tell the public that anyone can actually nominate a structure, an object, a place, building for inclusion in the City of Seward Historic Local Register. It's not necessary for applicant to be the property owner. Anyone can prepare and submit an application, and again, that application is available online on our Historic Preservation webpage. So, we spent some time during our session looking at a list of some potential properties, and we ended up settling on 3 that we had time to discuss and score, and those were Urbox, the Standard Oil Manager's House, and the Alaska Point of View Quonset Hut. Those are the 3 properties that we looked at and we scored. We felt all of them had cultural significance. We felt that all of them, I think we said, were associated with events that have made a significant contribution to our history, or that they were associated with the lives of persons significant in the past, they had interesting construction or architecture, and that they could yield or were likely to yield information important to Seward's history. So we discussed all those and landed on those 3 properties. Those properties would then be awarded a sign. I don't know if I still have that example that's here. Do I have it I can show? Hold it up and show. And many of these signs are already in evidence around town. We figured there's about 24 that we have a list that's on our actual webpage. And they would be awarded a sign that looks something like this. It's a nice heavy brass plaque. that says Historic Preservation Commission, and it's the Register of Historical Places with the seal of the city of Seward on here. So these would be put in a location. Again, it could be a structure, it could be an object, it could be a building, it could be a place of local significance. There are already about 24 that also are listed on the webpage, and we're proposing 3 more tonight. And as we get further applications that would be forwarded to us or anyone can nominate, we could continue to award those over the course of the year. So,
We probably look at some of these other ones next time.
yeah, we'll
Didn't
probably
get
look
to
at,
them
yeah, we didn't get to them because there was some good vibrant discussion to make sure that we're all in agreement on that. So we just need to approve the scored local Seward Historic Registry applications, the 3 that I just mentioned. And we need to have a vote on that as well then.
So the clerk has a question on this one. You're going to approve these 3 tonight, and then is this going to come back as a resolution next time to vote on?
I don't know that we need a resolution. I don't know that it, well, yes, they do need a resolution because all the ones that were approved before went before the city council. So we would need to, before next city council meeting where they would be proposed, we would need to have an actual resolution.
So for this vote, we're basically giving direction for these 3, Urbach, Standard Oil, Manager's House, and the Alaska Point of View Quonset hut to be presented in resolution format.
Correct, and you'll get completely filled out forms as per the forms that are already on the city website with all the pertinent information so they can properly present that to city council. If you could help us with that, that would be wonderful.
Okay. So are we ready to vote?
Are we doing them all together or individually?
In the past, I think they were done.
We have to do them
multiples.
individually because each one of those that is listed on our list here has a specific, right here. So this is coming right off of the site, right? And it says Seward Historic Preservation Register, Historic Places. It lists the year that it was presented. And then it says, like, for example, Diversion Tunnel at Lowell Creek, built in 1940. And then there is a resolution 1995-105. But you are correct. If I look at it, I see the one year they were done, they were all done together. They all have the same resolution. So actually, these 3 would go in one resolution. Answers my own question. That works. There you go. So now are we ready to vote?
Okay, and I'm just going to state for the record, so we're voting on the approval of Urbach's Standard Oil Manager's House and the Alaska Point of View Quonset hut to be as approved for the scored local Seward Historic Register.
Correct. And we need a motion, right?
Yes, could I get a motion, please?
I will get a motion to do what you just said.
Perfect.
Second.
Any further discussion? All right. Let's do a
Okay.
vote.
Mashlin,
Yes.
Lemaster,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Erickson,
Yes.
Benoit,
Yes.
and Chair LeBrecq.
Yes.
Okay, that motion has been approved.
Thank you very much. All right, and next item of business is to assign a commission member to work with the city administrator to write the annual report. Now, when we state the city administrator, who will we work with specifically to write the annual report? I'm looking right at you. Ally, I guess? All right, thank you very much. We'll clarify that, to write the annual report. Is there somebody that would be willing to take, to work with the commission? I'd certainly be happy to help. I'd rather not do it entirely since I have some other projects.
Did we skip bullet item number 5, approved
I
priority?
think we skipped something.
Oh, I did skip bullet item number 5. Let me take one step back. Okay, item number 5, thank you very much to our city manager for keeping us on track. Approving priority order walking tour signs. Commissioner Benoit, could you help us with that from our previous discussion?
Okay. So what we were discussing there was that we were considering applying for another CLG grant, and we wanted to determine which properties would be on the list to potentially receive signs. And the way these properties are on the list is based on what was left over from the last round where we already voted on those properties. We just ran out of money, but they're still interested. We looked at properties that were potentially, that are already on like the Seward Historic Register or the National Register, for example, that don't have a walking tour sign, probably should if they're interested in personally contact and ask them if they're interested. And then we had a list going on of people that have contacted us since the walking tour signs were put out there, or even a little bit before, saying, I would like to have a sign in the future. So we took all those properties and ran them through our scoring criteria that had been voted on a couple of years ago, which was in the packet, and came up with a list of, let's see, the list was of 14 different places, and we decided we'd like to narrow that down to 10. And in the process of discussing, we dropped a couple off. We said that, let's see, we said that 309 Second Avenue could be done at another time. We decided that the Norway Maple that is on the list it's already on the walking tour map, but that we could probably skip that one and not necessarily have a sign for that. And so what we have right now and currently on the list for the next 10 would be 304 Second Avenue. It's a 1912 house. It's the Erickson House. We have 437 Third Avenue, which is the Blaine House. We have 411 Third Avenue, which is the Stewart House. 423 Third Avenue, the Romeg Cameron House. So the last three I just mentioned are all up there in Millionaires Row. We have 504 Adams Street, which is the IOOF building, which is the Oddfellows Hall. We have, let's see, 125 Third Avenue, which is the site of the line. There's no building there, so that would all be history of that area, which is down at kind of the Ray Building area. We have 411 Chamberlain, which is the old dairy residence. We have 321 Third Avenue, which was one of Rissi Casagrande's real estate companies right now. It was the 1920 site of the Walter Blue House. We have 300 First Avenue. It's a 1925 house where it's owned by Overlease. It was the site where Van Empel stayed when he was painting the famous painting that's in St. Peter's Church. And then we have one more, which is basically, we want to replace the sign that is currently at 1111 Second Avenue, which is the sign that was talking about the Stucco Johnson's house that used to be on the hill, and it was moved over to Fifth Avenue. It's the Sweatman house right now. It's that place that slid down the hill, and they drug over by horses, and was in good shape. And so there was a sign talking about the site that was on this building that was on the hill before it was moved. That sign is already there. It's on our walking tour. It's a sign that was previously done. It was not one that we did, but it needs to be replaced. And so we would like to do that and do it in the same style as all the rest. So that would be the 10 total that we're considering for this grant.
Very good.
Anybody have any questions about that? Okay.
We just need a motion and a second to approve that priority.
I make a motion for what she said.
I'll second.
Further discussion? All right.
Okay, voting on the approval of the priority order of the walking tour signs as described by Commissioner Benoit. Erickson?
Yes.
Walker?
Yes.
Benoit?
Yes.
Mashlin? Yes. Lemaster?
Yes.
And Chair LeBrecq.
Yes.
Okay, that motion has been approved.
Thank you. The next item of business would be to assign commission member to work with city administrator to write the annual report. We could assign, but I'd love to have a volunteer for that. Is there anyone that's willing to work with the city administrator to help write the annual report? We would basically, just to tell you how easy it will be, would be to take this spreadsheet that we just did this year. We basically have the spreadsheet from last year. It kind of tells you exactly what we did. We probably would refer back to meeting minutes as well too, to make sure we actually accomplished those items. And then I'd be happy to be on the committee that maybe proofreads, but I'm not particularly wanting to write this one. Is there someone who'd be willing to help write the annual report?
She's good
Well,
at
we
that.
can't exactly, she has done that in the past, but we probably can't nominate someone who's not here.
Why not?
Yeah. I don't think you need to be present to be nominated.
Yeah. It was her idea, so I feel like she should, you know. Has ownership in
I
it.
can commit to asking her if that's okay. How about that? Okay. All right. And then,
Oh, Chair LeBrecq,
yes.
oh, would you like to just leave it at that you'll ask her?
Yes, you can leave it that I will
Okay.
ask Vice Chair Ward if she'd be willing to do that. All right. And the next item would be to update the draft of Seward's Day proclamation. Is the draft in the packet?
Here's the draft in the packet.
I didn't see it in there. So, I know that's something you've grabbed for us in the past. It's a pretty standard boilerplate thing. We just need to change the dates.
Yeah, we can do that if it's just updating the dates and,
Can we approve for you to change that? And, yeah. And Seward's Day, the exact day is not until later anyways. What is it?
It's probably
It's
have
on
one of
our,
those Facebook posts.
it's on our list.
Has anyone made a post for it?
You can pull up a previous one.
Founder's Day is August. Seward's Day.
Seward's Day is March 25th.
And we will not meet again before then, so it's that,
Yeah.
how do we conduct that business? Is something you can send out to us and we can simply approve, or just basically just entrust you to make the dates right and get that information out?
Is this going to be a proclamation at the council meeting on the 26th?
Yes, that's usually how it's done.
Yeah, so we can take care of that and make sure it's current.
Thank you very much. All right. And then we need to do public noticing for the historic preservation award. That's the same thing. It's the same one we do every year. It simply just needs an update to the date.
And I believe we have a Facebook post also that helps get the word out, but I think the city needs something official.
Sewer State Proclamation, Sewer yeah, okay. Is that something you also could just pull up and, because it says HP Award, we have on April 11th, we talk about approving the HP Award recipient, which means that we just need to get the solicitation out. And then we would actually spend time looking at the applications at that time.
We're putting out the Facebook post about it right at the beginning of March, so
Okay.
it would be good to do it around the same time.
That work? Thank you very much. All right. Moving on to informational items and reports. Reminder of meetings, thank you for that. Regular meeting and work session will be on April 11th, 2024. And it's on our calendar, reflects the same. We voted that worked for everyone. Other items, the CLG process updates, a certified local government grant. I have a letter in front of me here. It's a notification from the Department of Natural Resources. Came from Judith Bittner, State Historic Preservation Officer, stating that there is a grant application for certified local governments for 60/40 matching grant projects, which is to be completed by August 31st, 2025. The application deadline for that is Monday, January 22nd, 2024. This relates specifically to the fact that we're going to work on 10 new signs for the historic walking tour. and that is what the cost is that would be incurred. So I will take the old model of the first one that we did for the walking tour and can commit to getting it completed by that deadline. I would love to have somebody who would proof it for me before I send it off. If I have anyone that wants to volunteer, that'd be
I'll
great.
volunteer. Oh, go. Either way.
I
You
have-
have you have two volunteers.
I have 2 volunteers. Duly noted. Thank you very much to both of you. All right. So that's the process, is to get it in by the 22nd. And then we had a discussion with our city manager, Swanson, that we do not need to have city approval at a city council meeting until we would actually be awarded and then need to look at accepting any monies. We're not at that point right now. Thank you very much. All right, Hoban Park updates, please.
Okay,
Page
so
49.
the city, I was talking to Melanie House about this, and she said the city will take over purchasing, planting, and watering flowers at Hoban Park, which is something that we have been doing for a long, long time, and it's always been a little bit of a hardship because there's no water there, and we were like hauling buckets of water and hand watering them for, years and years and years. So the city said that they will do that, so yay, Melanie, thank you for doing that. The second thing, an anonymous donor wants to pay for a memorial bench and plaque to put at Hoban Park, and this is related to a memorial bench for Lee Plesky. So that's already in the works. We have the bench, we have the plaque ordered, and so one of these days soon you will see that out there. The third thing is I discussed with Melanie that we have plans in the future. We would like to continue to plant historic lilacs and maybe some historic like white roses down at Hoban Park, because we think that's what basically used to be there historically. And we have some white roses that we're going to try to take from the Cable House. They're out there in the front, and use some of those over there. So they are supportive of us doing that. So when we can work on it, and it's all been approved. That's all I have.
Thank you. Then the project for 1111 Second Avenue updates, that's what we're talking about, right? So we're good on that.
So, this is about, City Parks and Rec is interested in fixing up this area that's at 1111 Second Avenue, which is basically the lot across the street from Rotary Park. And so this lot basically has a sign, a historic sign that was developed many years ago, probably 20 to 30 years ago, I don't know exactly how old it is, that talks about the historic Stucco Johnson house that used to be up on the hill, and that's the one they moved and took off and brought it down the cliff and then moved it over to Fifth Avenue, and it is the Sweatman house. That's the one that accidentally broke the ropes or whatever they were doing. It slid down the hill, and they drug it over by horses and was still intact. And so everyone was like, oh my God, Stucco Johnson and his amazing craftsman. So there's a sign there that talks about that. And people used to be able to go there, and there used to be a little bridge there, and people could see it. Then there was some old stairs that would go up the hill to where the house used to be. Right now it's just remains of a foundation, I think. And so, in talking to Melanie House about this, the city is interested in fixing that area up and redoing a sign in the style of the rest of the walking tour signs. That sign that's there now is actually on the walking tour map. It just doesn't look like the other signs. So they would like to fix that place up, do a walking tour sign there. And it is on the list. I mentioned it when we talked about that. It was the last one. And they wanted to do some other things like fix the place up, put a new bridge, fix up the stairs, and do stuff. And this could be kind of a collaborative effort, if we want, between the city and the Historic Preservation Commission and Rotary Club. Mm-hmm. And so that's something that will be very nice for telling that historical story in the future for people, because right now you can't even see that the sign is in there. It's kind of hidden away. It's a really cool story. So that is what is happening with that.
Very cool. Just another collaboration.
Yep.
Very good. Do we have any citizen comments? No? Anyone in the audience? All right. Commission and administration comments and responses. There are no citizen comments, but are there any administration comments at all?
I would just like to say I'm very excited for Ally to be stepping into the position of liaison between HP and administration. I think this is probably me passing it off to her, me being here as support. So while I won't be attending all of the meetings moving forward, I'm really excited about this connection and this work. And my office and email and phone are always open if you have anything that does need to be addressed. But you're in very, very good hands with Ally.
I would agree. And thank you to our city manager, because your presence means a lot, and it shows that historic preservation is important.
Important.
So we thank you for that. Very excited about working with Ally. That enthusiasm is, I hate to use the word contagious anymore in today's day, but it is a little contagious. So in a good way. In a good way. I'm very optimistic for 2024. I feel like we've made a difference over the last several years here. I hear tons of people talking about that walking tour. I see the maps, I see the signs. I hear people talking about it. They're noticing, part of that whole walking tour thing, when we worked on that project, there were 6 houses out of that walking tour that were painted or remodeled or renovated in some way, in a significant way, in anticipation of being on that walking tour. So it is making a difference for sure. We have a supportive administration. We have enthusiastic support from the library and museum and Ally, and great support and from you, from the city clerk's office, and looking forward to working with Jody as well too. So I would thank all of my commissioners. That would be my comments, but any comments around the table?
Just echoed the same.
Yes.
Well, first I'd like to say thank you to Ally, because I've already been working with her regarding the Facebook post, and it's been a real pleasure, and I appreciate your help and support. And then the second thing I wanted to say is, in the process of coming up with these list of the 10 new signs that we will do, I've reached out to a bunch of people and talked to them about their historic properties, and it's been really interesting. It's been really a cool experience, because some of these folks were, maybe reluctant to want to do a sign before, but then after they've seen what we did, now they want a sign. So it's exciting that people that maybe weren't that excited before now are, and then once you start talking to them about the sign, then they want to tell you all about the history of their house. It's really cool. And I just love to see this growing, because some of these new places on the list are some amazingly beautiful houses up there on Million Years Road that I think a lot of people will be very excited, for example, just to learn more about the history. So I'm really excited about the list we have going, and that we're going to do more. And I think these people are all, I thank all these people that we mentioned for their willingness to share their history with the town and the tourists that come here, because it makes a difference. So that's what I got.
Anyone else? Commissioner Master? No? Mr. Master? Anyone else? All right. Well, it's a pleasure and an honor to serve in this capacity. I'm learning all the time, but I do want to recognize all the work that's been done by previous chairs and previous commissions. The 2017 plan we're still working on as a guideline for kind of what we're doing here. You were one of the writers of that, Commissioner Erickson. We really are just bearing the fruits of those that come before us, and that's part of our history. So I'm honored to be this chair and always just trying to learn. So thank you for your patience. That's all I have. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right. Somebody want to second that?
Second.
Okay.
We're good?
So ready to adjourn?
I'm ready to adjourn.
And the time is
7:56, meeting of the 11th of January 2024. The Historic Preservation Commission is adjourned.
Okay.